Good morning, everyone. I'm Mansi from Needle.ai, and I welcome you all to today's webinar. In today's discussion, we would deal with how to conquer information overload. I think all of us who are gathered here today are dealing with enormous amount of information coming our way and want to use it really effectively to make it our competitive advantage rather than being burdened by it. So without further ado, let's jump right into how do we conquer this information overload. Kuntal, over to you.
Thank you, Mansi. So just to give you a brief context and a background of what we're going to cover today, um, as a 30-year professional in an investing world, I have witnessed an era where availability of information itself is a big competitive advantage. And fast forward now, actually, we have swung the way where too much of information actually comes our way, and the need of the hour is actually ability to filter out the critical information from a lot of junk which we receive, and that would require some kind of assistive tool and leveraging of technology so that we don't we have a dualing purpose to solve. One is to smartly handle all the diversity of information which is coming to us, which is a source of competitive advantage and analysis and research outcomes and investment outcomes, and also at the same time not to have a constant fear of something is missing or some important information is falling under the crack. So finally, I took a call to action, and we decided to set up this team, which was trying to solve the hard problem of information management in a situation where the user was exposed to high volume of data, high value of data, high variety of data, and most importantly, the data was residing in multiple venues. So, Mansi, what was happening was fragmented data itself meant that all the downstream processing, collaboration, workflows, extra also were fragmented. And this gave rise to a lot of cognitive overload, context switching, alt tab, control C, control V, all kind of, more time was spent in collecting data, organizing data, and making preliminary sense out of data rather than actually drawing insight from the data. It was almost overwhelmingly difficult to organize and work upon the data where automation need was required. Later on, we realized that many people were in the same boat, and hence we spun it off as a company, and we've been in the public private beta mode, and where we have taken inputs from a lot of users on what kind of features, what kind of functionality, what kind of workloads they would like to build on it, and this seminar is a webinar is a further progress on public building, where we want to showcase the products and the use case, and want to take the inputs from the users to build it further and finally roll it out to the eventual users. So to set the context, Needle is a very secure cloud-based solution which unifies three kinds of data for a user. What are the kind of data? Let's see, public data sources. It could be news and media websites like Reuters, Bloomberg, CNN, Fox News, CNBC, and so on forth. Blogs written by people in Substack, Medium, could be YouTube video, could be podcast, could be Reddit blogs, and so on and so forth. All kind of things we browse on the net, and we normally tend to copy paste important stuff we like into either Word, email, or OneNote or Drive, and we store it for a later retrieval or use case and such case. Second information, which is your private data, which is private to you only you can have access to it. Could be your email, could be your chats, could be your chats like Slack, Microsoft Teams, WhatsApp, Telegram, so on and so forth, drives, note-taking apps like Evernote, OneNote, so on and so forth. This is the data which is curated, which has come to you from your peers, colleagues, superiors, people, your ecosystem, vendors, suppliers, and which at times has critical documents, critical inputs, which are of use to you in your business decision-making and context. And the third type of data is a regulatory website like your industry association, filing and stock exchanges, it's like a regulator, and so on and so forth. All these three types of data are aggregated on a single cloud platform making your entire data unified and deeply searchable. And when I say deep searchable, meaning you can search within the document, you can search within images. It's a deep search, which is not normally possible in narrow apps, which most of the users are using for communication or interactions. Once this unified repository is curated by the user by giving access to the apps and choosing the websites of their interest, we offer personalized filters and tools to reduce the information overload, and save time in collecting, aggregating, organizing, and retrieving the data, which is the curation part of it. And post-curation, we allow seamless sharing and workflow capabilities. So what happens is the entire scattered knowledge of the institutional memory of the organization comes together on a single page. The team comes to simple page, and basic data management related tasks get done on the same platform. And we have an Apple app which is coming soon, and an Android app which is live, which facilitates data consumption. We have observed 65 to 68% of data consumptions happen on mobile app, and we have done that. Second big ask from the user was about data privacy and security. So we have dual option. Our cloud platform has same standards adopted by best of the breed apps in terms of security, privacy, SOC 2 compliance, ISO compliance, so on and so forth. And we leverage the best practices of AWS, but for regulated entities with larger scope and regulations, we have rolled out a solution where our solution can go and reside on their cloud to further strengthen the value proposition for the end users. With this, I would just like to share the screen, Mansi, so we can go into the...
I think what I hear is that Needle is organizing information for you so that you see all information coming to you at one place. I don't really have to create folders and manually pull out stuff. And it is like auto streamed in my workspace the way I want it and in the priority I want to see. I think those are a lot of boxes which really check conquering information overload. I think let's jump right in and see it in action.
So Mansi, I used to spend hours organizing data into files and folders based on industry, companies, and so on and so forth. And now that has stopped because we have been able to train machine to work on logic, algorithm, keywords, and smart filters, so that data almost virtually organizes itself. And that's a big time saver. And it's a mundane task without any, positive upside. It's actually a treasury which user gets relieved of. So just to come to our platform, user will have to spend one-time effort to configure it, just like any other end-to-end information management software or a system of knowledge, which comprises of system of records, which is all your data in one place, system of processing, which is get your jobs done, and system of engagement and collaboration, which is get your workload done and keep team on the same page. So one-time configuration and setup cost is involved. It can be done by user himself. It can be done by admin of the organization. We have multiple options thereon. So I'm going to show you my individual use case, and I'm going to explain how myself as a voracious consumer of public information can benefit and take more smarter decisions when it comes to the investment and capital markets related use case. So as you can see, I've integrated a lot of common and popular apps, which I'm not going to discuss to you about, but you can extrapolate that whatever functionality I'm going to demonstrate to you on public data is extended to the private data if you choose to do so. Coming to the external world. So Google has done a fantastic job of bringing external world to you. You can fire a query and you have millions of output, which many of them are bang on accurate. But there are two shortcomings now. First is Google doesn't access to a lot of curated data sources which are of importance to you. So like example, stock exchange data, or say Reddit blog data, or say Twitter data, and so on and so forth, which might be of preliminary data source, primary data source, which can help you to take decision or you have a market moving information and so on and so forth. Using this connect websites, you can connect millions of news website, blogs, Substacks, Medium, podcasts, YouTube, all kind of variety of data into your universe, and you can search within. Two things happen. Since the search is only happening on the sources which are relevant to you, search results become more relevant to you. and they don't go towards the lowest common denominator, because in Google search, basically because of backlinking, sometimes the search results are not of relevance to you, but relevance to a broader audience. And you being professional might have a more narrow and focused view of what kind of data sources you consume. It's all about hyper personalization, hyper contextual curation of data source. So as you can see, I've integrated 477 websites, which I feel are my go-to websites or my bookmark website, from which I would like to get the search output when I'm searching for something. And I can keep adding and deleting more as the use goes by. So just to show you, say Bloomberg was one source of information which I wanted to integrate. Here, as you can see, it will crawl through all the RSS link of Bloomberg, and we can integrate business news and opinion and energy news and so on and so forth. One word of caution here: we are not in business of generating data. We don't create data of our own. We are not a database provider. We don't write articles. We don't generate content. What we help you to do is, if you have access to content coming from anything, we build pipes to it, pull it in our your cloud system, and help you process it and manage it in a better form. So you will have to aggregate and connect to all these things. You can follow and unfollow each of this kind of thing, and you can build up a private repository of your go-to website knowledge. And here I've integrated all the exchange related data across United States and India, which are areas of interest to me. Let's now go to how you can leverage this information, which has been all curated in a cloud platform, to have a better idea generation and monitoring and decision making thing. So let's just go to a very simple use case of how do you start generating ideas for a user. Most of the users either go to BSE alerts or Google alerts or exchange filings, and that becomes a starting point of analyzing what is change at margin, what are the news announcements which are of relevance to the users, and so on and so forth. But there are caveats. The problem there is, because of the inflexibility of the way the current sources are giving the data, it's a very hard work to filter out what you want and actually just go to what we can. And let me show you by use case. Here, what I've created is I've created a portfolio of my watchlist company, which could be my actual portfolio, or companies which I'm interested in. And I'll show you how it can leverage. So I can just select watchlist, and I can select all kind of filing categories which I'm interested. So the machine has started training on the exchange related data and identifying the data based on the category. So I suppose I only want to know two types of data: whether there is a change in key management personnel out here, or there is a merger or acquisition related stuff. So as you can see, all the exchange announcement has been classified in various categories, ranging from corporate actions like dividend bonus splits, to fundraising announcement, to compliance, to disclosures, to con calls, and controlling shareholder transactions, and so on and so forth. So if I'm interested into this is what helps me filter out the noise, that in my universe which I'm looking at today, these are the announcements which are pertaining to as you can see, Axis Bank has acquired Citibank's consumer card. It's a merger and acquisition related data. Linde has appointed Mr. Amit Dhanuka as company secretary, which is a key main person. So all other noise gets filtered out, and you can actually start working and don't have to manage too much time in filtering out the unwanted use cases or contextual data which is streaming to you, and this saves a lot of time. Having said that, the most important use case is if you are tracking the company now. So let's see how you can look at how you can go about tracking the company. I'm just going to refresh my screen and remove the filters, and let's go to the filing. So if you can just see the filings, you can select indices. You can select and create your own portfolio. You can filter out again category. You can run this criteria against a single company. You can sort by old and low, latest. And by the way, Mansi, we have crawled the entire Bombay Stock Exchange going back to the history. So it's not just the new information which is coming in. The entire past data is visible, and it's searchable. And let's look at it. Say you are looking at a company, let's say Gujarat Fluorochemical. At one click of button, you can go through all Gujarat related data, which is in your filings, which is in your conference calls, which is in your presentations, which is in your this thing. So this is all my data across Gujarat, Fluoro, across sorted by time, sorted by this thing, appearing in a very clean and neat layout. Now, suppose you want to track the conference calls of the company, and just to give you a use case, suppose you want to know what con calls, say, a star analyst or superstar fund managers are asking. So I'm just taking example of Mr. Bharat Shah from Ask, what kind of questions is asked in the con call, and there we go that we get to know he's asked questions on multiple number of companies, and a preview of questions which he has asked comes to know, so you know whether it's relevant to you. You get a snippet preview, you get some context of what kind of question is even before opening the document, or whether you want to download the document. So we come to know immediately. We can just see what kind of things. Now you can extend this to anything. It could be for tracking what are the latest macro trends, say China +1, inflation, volume growth, monetization, whatever it is, or you can track a person, or you can track a chemical, or you can track a raw material, or you can track a finished good. Basically, it's all custom made to your context, and it is a Lego brick tool which allows you to get to what you want across a category of data. And Mansi, though, one thing I just wanted to highlight here is, though value picker doesn't come in the exchange tab as of right now, if you go to the exchange, the website, and actually see, you can actually also add value picker to your things, and all the discussions happening in the value picker community also get searched upon. I think that we should index the value picker to yeah. So you can search in that entire blog also, and all the relevant results come across. And so let me just repeat the searcher: Gujarat. And as you can see, all the content in value picker will come up, and if you can, if you open the source, it will directly take you to the same link. So it saves you a lot of time and trouble in locating. And that's the reason why, Mansi, the name of this software is Needle. It implies you are able to locate your needle in multiple digital haystack and ability to stitch up inside. Now, coming to the exchange, as you can see, you can search within annual reports, conference calls, filings, and BSc presentation, all at the same click of button, and SEBI too, actually. So if I fire a search on Samir Arora, and I will do it across my data this time, just to show you that the versatility of software. It can track Samir Arora in the shareholder filing. It can track shareholder on all the con calls. Even there is some SEBI order dated 2006 related to Samir Arora. All kind of information just pops up. So this helps you to do build up your knowledge base, do the due diligence, and build up your repository of knowledge, cutting across public website and exchanges, which is the focus area of our discussion today. As you can see, value picker related stuff, alpha ideas, all the popular blogs, media, website, all the findings, interviews, podcast, everything comes up. And this makes job of an analyst to start initiating coverage or start building his hypothesis extremely clear, and a very quick start exercise, leading to very tangible outcomes in terms of time saved, effort saved, and ease of convenience of getting down to actual job of interpreting, analyzing, introspecting, and reflecting on the data, rather than the job of manually pulling out the data from multiple sources, organizing them in notes, or creating Word document and sharing them in Drive, which is usually the workflow of 99% of the people I've seen around me. And this is a true value proposition of Needle as a tool which aggregates data, allows you processing and collaboration thing.
Right.
Now, just
So
coming back
about analysts, I think I've heard a lot that how historical comparisons especially can be very tedious, for analysts who have to do so much manual labor to get through to that. You want to show us how it's done, really?
So let's take, say, financial sector, and say you want to see what management of the industry is talking about, say, gross NPA. So let's just fire a search of gross NPA across BSA filings. So if you see, you can use this in very multi-dimensional cross-index manner. First, you can see what are the management of all the financial institution talking about gross NPA in a chronological context. But suppose you want to know what the management of even each company had said across time. So say if you see what had the management of HDFC Bank Limited had said about gross NPA across time, you can create a timeline of chronological event related to HDFC Bank, related to gross bank, and you can actually see what they said during each quarter. So this is what they said in June. This is what they said in various quarters. You can sort them by latest first, and there you go. You have actually 22 July 22 various commentary on gross NPA related to HDFC Bank. You can now even cross compare across its peers by adding more and more peers to it, or you can just track it across indices. So what Bank Nifty are saying across gross NPA in this quarter. So you can have a time view of across the peers or a timeline view of one company across various quarters. And you can start building your hypothesis, and this can be for any particular gap metric or non-gap metric. And it can be done through even the presentation, even the Concord transcript, even the annual reports, and even the filings at one single click. This, I think so, is a big time saver because it just gives you what you want on a piece of paper, because you can just then open the notebook. But yes, we have a more trick, Nancy. Many of the filings of the Bombay Stock Exchange are actually scanned documents. They are not PDF natives, which can be easily searchable. So just let me open some filings and see whether, I don't know whether Federal Bank, just one sec, I'll just delete, I don't know what I did. I didn't. So I don't know.
Go to the trifold
Yeah.
view.
So yeah. No, I'm just going to see whether it's a scanned document or whether. Now the beauty of Needle platform is you can even search within a scanned PDF and extract important data out of this. And let me show you this table into an Excel file. You can do this at a click of a button with full accuracy. And as you can see, I'm just saving it in my folders. And this entire table in a scanned document comes alive in a Microsoft table, which is accurate to the T. So you can, Mansi, extract PDF from models of broker reports or a newspaper article, and you can convert it into wire, and you can start working on it. So you can build your own models. As you can see here, it has almost 100% captured the whole whole things very efficiently, and you have a clear conversion of data from one format to other. So you can, if you have a newspaper clippings or you have a broker reports and you want to extract text or table out of it, you can just do it at a click of a button and can start working on it. And you are assured that it's A, error-free, and B, it's very quick. This is one big advantage of using Needle platform, that your data conversion tasks are very quick and very streamlined. Once you do this, I've indicated, two things so far: how you filter the information, how you search for information, how you compare information. Now let's go to some more value-added stuff. During earnings season, probably sometimes hundreds of companies are announcing results in one day. And if you are a small team which is covering large number of companies, it's impossible to keep track of all the conference calls. So we have applied cloud computing to this data, and what we have done is all the published con calls on the exchange's website get automatically summarized by who was the speaker, what was the salient point spoken about, and whether that point was positive or negative. So if you are owner of the stock and you all generally you know what is positive, but you are worried about negatives. All you can do is just go to what is negative. Domestic consumer creating shortage and pushing it to negative. You can just glance through quickly and have a skim reading of the entire con call, which is a very powerful what I could say is a time saver for an analyst during a peak busy earning season. The sentiment analysis and summarization is a very time saver tool for a lot of analysts. Today, a lot of these things is done manually, but the cloud computing can easily help them elevate noise. So with Mansi, I've shown you there are many processing tools and processes which can automate, and I'm not going to show all of you. But I want to now just focus on the third part. We said first we aggregate data and give a unified view and a unified search, which we demonstrated. We could filter, we could process, we could extract data, we could convert data, which we showcase, summarization, sentiment analysis, clipping, Excel, and so forth. Most important is how do you keep track of a company or a theme on a regular basis? Let's go, let's dig that. So here I've created some specific, any search with its Boolean logic, keyword, and filters, which I'm going to do it repeatedly again, can be saved into feed. So here I have created, say, a feed on a company called Bajaj Finance. And I can scan my entire data across Bajaj Finance, across my private app, public app, and website at a click of a button. So this is the Bajaj Finance data related to exchanges. Some ex-Bajaj Finance guy had joined Capri Global, and some Bajaj Finance shares have been pledged, so on and so forth. Across public website, the Bajaj Finance has got license to do the mutual fund business and so on and so forth, how Jeffrey has report, and social media. Everything is at the search of a button. And once this feed is created, my feed even encompasses private data such as chats, emails, drives, and notes. But I'm just going to focus on the public data use case. Once this kind of feed is created, the easy thing is you can share this feed to anybody in the Needle ecosystem or in your organization based on the predator line. This relieves you of constant juggle to keep your colleagues or your superiors or your juniors to be on the same page. You are basically creating rule-based, auto-organized self-folders which can automatically get shared to your team at a click of a button. And that is a powerful use case. It saves you a lot of time, and it almost brings the entire team on the same page reading, and this you can consume on a mobile or at a click of a button. Now, what next? Now, any of this data can be added to, now, suppose if I like this tweet, I can easily add it to my notes. Yes, Needle has its own note-taking app, which you can use to take your transcripts and so, which I've done here. So now if you see this tweet has been added to my Bajaj notebook. And here is where I keep important stuff, which is curated, super curated. From river of flood of information, I've created a cup of drinking water, which is for my needs, which is easily again shareable to each of my colleagues. So I think, Mansi, we have already exceeded time and I would want some question and answer, but I think so you get the overall context. Needle is creating unified repository from millions of sources, public sources, which can be configured to your hyper curated feeds. It can allow you to filter noises. Again, how does the noise filtering happen? That's a very important question. I just want to go into it. So if you see here in my feed on Bajaj Finance, if you see almost entire content which is coming up is only coming from sources which are rated high by the machine or overruled by me. If I think it's low, I can overrule it. And same thing happens if I manage contacts using chats. Each of the contacts get unified across multiple apps. You create a common identity and machine assigns a weightage. And if you trust me, Mansi, only 4% of my content source and contact sources have been rated high by machine, implying 96% of data I get is not relevant to me. And that is the powerful noise filter which Needle brings. So Needle gives you this, the cream de la cream of your source, which is configured by you. It's not configured by some algorithm or a logic that doesn't work. It is actually built by you brick by brick, logic by logic. And that's the power of Needle that you leverage cloud computing to extract the information which is relevant to you, and at the same time don't miss critical information from the sources which matter to you and the context which matter to you. I think the time has come for us to take some questions.
And what I also saw that you were able to do all of this without changing context and on one screen. I think that can be so powerful when you're trying to be productive and get something done without losing any context or focus.
Yeah, so Needle has been built by a professional who knows what are the pain points and where are the friction points. And we are trying to overcome those friction points slowly by leveraging technology and cloud computation.
Right. Great. So, Kuntal, we have a lot of questions coming in. I'll dive right into this. So, the first one is, which all websites or sources do you connect? It looked like a lot of work to add 300 plus websites. How do I start?
Yeah. So, Mansi, just like any good things, there is one-time pain but lifelong gain. You have to invest time because there's no way a machine can learn your context and your requirement without you giving the input first. Once you give input, only you can get an output, and that's a rule of the machine learning, and that's a rule of cloud compute. So we have allowed you to search and integrate any millions of websites are out there. You can let me show you. Many people in stock market read blog called Farnham Street. So if that's the blog you want to see, you can just search and you can integrate. As you can see, I'm following it. You can basically search and follow. Next is we have created some templates. So like for Indian analysts, we have created, say you are an automobile analyst, we have created some predefined templates and keywords. So if you see, we have integrated auto car park, bro bookings, and business standard automobile data, and so on and so forth. Now, this is not a comprehensive set of things. This is just a template to get you going and get your brain stimulated.
Right. So I can use this template and I can edit it to make it my own.
Yes, you can, and you can edit it to add more and more
Right.
sources, more and more keywords. See, there is some amount of training you will have to impart to the machine to enable machine to study your behavior pattern, study your context, and give you more output. So it's a present investment you will have to do to leverage future cloud computing advances as and when they happen. And I think that it's worth it. It's worth doing it.
Sure, Kuntal. Right, Kuntal, that makes sense. Sure. Here's the next questions. Actually, we just answered it. Are there any predefined feeds that we can use? The next question after that.
As a Mandi, we have created some multi-diffs. If somebody is interested in tech, there are tech ALMI feed. In fact, I've created a feed on machine learning and AI and chat GPT, which is a hot word because
the hottest topic, which is everywhere.
No, it's a tremendous advance in human progress. I don't think so. Machine is ever going to replace humans, but humans taking machine assistance to do work progressively is going to be the norm. And here I'm able to scan this topic in Forbes and in social media and in blogs and the world.
I think
my private Idaho, and I can do that.
This is a great example that you've taken here, Kuntal, because there is so much content that is being generated around ChatGPT. You want to really consume the la creme. So here you've contained your universe. You've decided, okay, I want to stay top of this topic, which is also very noisy, and I decide what sources I want to get updates from.
So Mansi, they were saying there are always unintended consequences of technology. So brakes make car go faster. Just because your car has brake, you are inclined to drive it at high speed, right? So one disadvantage of this Cambrian explosion of Moore's law and falling computational curve, falling internet cost, falling telecom cost, what has happened is, first, the cost of distribution of content has dropped to almost zero. Today you can publish, you can blog, you can tweet, you can post. It's all almost virtually zero cost. Now with generative tools coming in, even the cost of creating a reasonably good quality content almost drops to zero. Now this is good for creators, but what about consumers who have to shift through the sense of this noise and take be informed and be updated and take decision for them. I think I would like to recall Herbert Simon has said that wealth of information creates poverty of attention. And I think so the future winners are people who can leverage technology to filter out the chaff and focus on what matters. And I think
Totally.
Needle could be one of those assistive tools which helps you to consume and configure your information diet without you getting, obesity or, without you having fear of missing constantly some critical information. And
Totally. I think
that's
this
it.
is why all of us are gathered here for this webinar, because at one point in time, we do all feel this pain. Sure, Kuntal. Someone wants to know, is there any way to curate feeds of YouTube and Twitter content?
Yeah, brilliant. I think the diversity of content which we listen to or consume has just gone through video, podcasts, blogs, and Needle is there to assist you with all varieties of popular categories. So let me show you. I have created feeds. In fact, Needle has created feeds to showcase with you. So let's start. This is Need. We have created podcast for learning. You can curate your podcast and have them delivered in your feed and probably see in your email inbox also down the line, where you don't miss out. It's possible to remember that tons of podcasts we want to track or something. So consider this as a bookmark of your podcast. You can search within and you can immediately start consuming at a click of a button. Same applies for YouTube videos, curated blogs for our teams to consume, where if you see, these are the blogs which are of interest to us on a day-to basis, seeking alpha. And this is Reddit. This is a feed in Reddit which discusses live stocks, or value which is discussing stocks which are of interest to us, including podcasts. You can curate what, and the beauty is you can share it across your department or your organization, and it can be a powerful learning and training tool, because this becomes your institutional memory of content for training and even the understanding purposes. So if you see, all the podcasts which I would like to consume have been curated, and they come to me at a click of a button, and I can start consuming at a click out there. I can even add them to my notes, and I can start making summaries out of it. At some point of time, who knows, we might able to condense the whole podcast into a beautiful summary and give it to you. Technology is definitely there, but it's costly. Propensity to pay comes into picture. And here's the all the YouTube videos and channels which I would like to see. So this is Ray Dalio's video, and this is Real Vision Finance. This basically serves as my to-do list to consume the data from podcast blogs, and they are. So you can the sources of curation are millions, Mansi. It's up to you how much water you can drink out of the flowing river. That's what it's all about.
That makes a lot of sense. You know what I have done? I get so many podcast suggestions from you, from the other people in my team and network. I've just created an auto-populating feed of podcast by just setting the logic that wherever podcast is mentioned with a link in my communications, like WhatsApp or Slack, I just get it in one feed. So next time when I'm looking for a podcast suggestion, I know I just need to go to that feed.
Yep.
All right. So it says that, so the next question that I have is about, how is Needle different from other productivity apps and information management tools out there like Evernote, Trello, Zapier?
So Mansi, there are tons of productivity apps out there. Some of them I personally use and I admire. Evernote, OneNote, OneDrive, Google Drive, Microsoft Teams, and WhatsApp, and so on. So collaboration is all around us. But there are two kind of workflows related to information. One is creating and sharing, which is through typing or sharing or linking. And one is, consuming, which is, you curate, you aggregate, you synthesize, and you share. Now, there are tons of productivity software which are all manual. You have to copy paste, you have to add document, you have to prepare the project management, you have to set alerts, you have to design your workflows. So there are tons of project management, note-taking apps and all of that. The single biggest differentiator of Needle is able to handle streaming data like a Twitter feed or a WhatsApp feed or a Telegram feed and incorporate in your normal routine of note taking and curating and tagging and so on and so forth. This to me is the single biggest powerful use case of Needle. Its ability to integrate streaming data, which is free flowing, and it is not being, copied and pasted into your app, or you are not typing it away, or you're not setting up some notification and alerts. If you see, most of the note-taking app and productivity apps help you to get workflows done, helps you to plan, helps you to do to-do lists, help you to collaborate, but the problem is they all almost deal with static data. Even drives are your static data, and even note taking are your static data, because you are creating and putting things inside. But if you see the feeds which we are creating from exchanges and from Twitter and from Bloomberg's and from podcasts are streaming content. The ability to handle the streaming content and bring that unstructured data into your formal workflow is, I think, so the single biggest differentiator of Needle. And I think so most of us consume data at scale, which is streaming.
Right, Kuntal. I think just one last question, if you can help us with this. Is this platform offered to organizations or to single individuals?
So Needle, Mansi, Needle is good for an individual use case to consume and curate and bookmark and consume data at individual level. It is also good for teams, small and big. It is also, we have an enterprise version which has powerful admin controls, access controls, security, audit blog, all those tools built on top of it to enable, rights management and, content consumption. It is useful for a range of organization, from organization of one to organization of many. It lends credence to use case across all the kind of enterprises.
Great, sure. That really brings us to the end. Thanks, Kuntul, for walking us through and showing how to really conquer the information overload. I really do hope, everyone who's attending and viewing this video finds this useful. Please try out Needle and see how it can help you with your information consumption and really helping you to make it your competitive advantage. Write to us with whatever you find good, bad, or ugly, and we'll be really excited to hear from you. All right.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks. Bye.